All right, everybody. Programming update here. We are going to kick things off with the Georgia Tech preview going down on Saturday. Grayson and myself, this is Pat, by the way, we jump in and talk things Hokie history. We talk a little bit about Georgia Tech's year, and we spray a little hopium on the Hokies. I think we can win this weekend, but we'll see. Following the Georgia Tech preview, Grayson hosted Brandon Guess. Brandon Guess is a Navy veteran. Brandon and Billy Ray were actually roommates in San Diego when Billy Ray lived out in San Diego. I, myself, Grayson, and Billy Ray have all spent time with Brandon. So it's fired up that he joined Grayson earlier this week. In the spirit of Veterans Day, which is next Friday, the 11th of November, we wanted to put our Sons of Utprosum hats back on and be able to bring awareness to a fantastic organization called Stop Soldier Suicide. A friend of mine in the class of 2017 from Tech, Morgan Sherrill, works there and brought it to my attention that we'd love to do some type of partnership there and get some awareness to Stop Soldier Suicide, SSS. So we had Brandon on, and he talked about his experience in combat. And I know that he has some stories to share, and really just want to bring light to the subject. So what you can do, you can check out the article that we're going to be posting with this podcast on sonsofsaturday.com/VT. We are looking to hit a fundraising goal for Stop Soldier Suicide. We're looking to raise $250. So if you would like to contribute, please head on over to the link on our fundraising page on sonsofsaturday.com/VT. And again, thank a veteran this Veterans Day. And in the spirit of Utprosum and the incredible Corps of Cadets tradition that Virginia Tech is enthralled in, we love to be able to highlight an organization like this. So thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Grayson. And let's kick it over to this Georgia Tech preview before sitting down with Brandon. Enjoy, everybody. All right, everybody. We are back. It is Tuesday, November 1st, Georgia Tech week. We are here delivering the Georgia Tech preview. Out on the West Coast, we have Grayson Wimbish dialing in from Los Angeles, Virginia Tech class of 2018. And this is Pat Finn calling in from Charlotte, North Carolina. We are the Sons of Saturday, and we're bringing you our Georgia Tech preview. Grayson, what have you been up to? What's going on? Little status update, life update. You know, we got to do some things between L's, you know. What are you doing during the week between watching the Hokies crush your hopes and dreams?
Yeah, man. So I actually I said it on the podcast this past weekend. Was home for a wedding, which was a lot of fun. So that took up a nice healthy bit of the bye week. But now that I'm back in Los Angeles, man, I was sick last week, which really sucked. So I wasn't doing a whole lot of anything. And now this week, dude, it's trying to get my ducks back in a row, getting back in the rhythm of going to work, and been doing a lot of outreach, dude, because I'm trying to get back into film and television. So been sending the resume out and about. So there you go. Got to get out of the service industry. So that's what's going on with me. And then this. So here we go. Previewing Georgia Tech. What about you, man? What are you getting into?
I was going to say, if you are listening and you got any connects in the Hollywood Hills, hit up our boy.
Holler at me. Grayson at Saturday.com.
I'm just hanging out, listening to a lot of Zach Bryan lately. He has been really just setting the world on fire. There's really some solid live sets that he has on YouTube that are just like out of control good. Enjoying fall down here in Charlotte. You know, it's like 70s out. Pretty solid weather, if I do say so myself.
Better than spring, Pat Finn, or comparable?
You know, it's just as good. Just as good.
I won't scold you too much, but it's fine.
I'm not going to say what I like better. I'm just going to say, you know, people like to overdo it a little bit.
We know what you're thinking, dog, so it's cool.
But we're going to put on a brave face and do this preview podcast. Got to say, before we even jump into that, basketball's coming. We're 7 days away from men's and women's basketball. We just had Liz Kitley and George Amore on the show earlier this week, and the basketball team, both sides, the men's team, the women's team. I mean, are you fired up?
So gassed. Women's team ranked, I think, highest they've ever been in the preseason, coming in at 13. The fellas, no secret, coming hot off an ACC title and a little tournament run there. Lots of basketball content. Like Pat just said, Billy Ray and Bryce Chalkley just sat down with Liz in Georgia, Athlete of the Week podcast. We also have an interview with Coach Kenny Brooks coming out. And a little pump up video will drop on the TL. So stay tuned for that on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That'll be coming up tomorrow. Should be fun. Did you lose me?
So we're gonna kick things off with a Hokie Haiku here, brought to you by our friends at the Main Street Pharmacy. Dr. Jeremy Counts, where you are a neighbor, not a number. Head on down there, pick up a new Center Street Athletics t-shirt that we did a little collab with our friends at Knitlo, Center Street Athletics. Check them out on social media. You can buy them on knitlo.com. That's KNITLO.com. Or at the storefront, at the pharmacy. Jeremy's got them at the pharmacy. Pete McGee submitted a Hokie Haiku. Saw Pete last week at Carter Finley. Twice in one season, or I guess 3 times in one season now. Pete and I, we exchanged the away game glance across the sections in Raleigh, in the Triangle. Did it at Carolina too. He says, Battle of the Techs, RSN, can't watch again. Eat bees for breakfast. All right, Grayson, set the table. What's going on with this tilt, this noon thrilling tilt on RSN on Saturday? What's going on?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a secret that every game is a coin flip for bowl eligibility from here on out. Virginia Tech has 4 games left in the month of November. Today is November 1st. We got Georgia Tech this Saturday, followed by the very well-coached Duke Blue Devils the weekend after. Then we got the currently 23rd ranked Liberty Flames. Scared for that one. And we cap the season like we always do against the Virginia Cavaliers on Thanksgiving weekend. Not a single one of these games is a guaranteed win. Not one of them, which is terrifying. But it's kind of a miracle that we're currently favored in this matchup against Georgia Tech. It'll be interesting to see how that fluctuates throughout the week. And it's worth noting Georgia Tech has 3 wins this season. They are against out-of-conference Western Carolina, the Pittsburgh Panthers, which is impressive, and the Duke Blue Devils. And so in their most recent football outing, the last team that they played were the Florida State Seminoles, and they lost big time, 41-16. And Florida State, I really don't think is all that great this season. So the Coastal, the ACC is a mess outside of Clemson. It's a complete mess. So that's setting the table. That's what's going on right now.
I was going to say that win that they have over Duke might actually be more impressive than the win that they have over Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Duke is playing good football right now. I mean, yeah, we got some tough games left on the schedule. So we'll see. I don't know, man. I'm nervous.
Duke's coming off a bye. Duke just routed Miami the week before and almost knocked off Carolina on the 15th. And then Duke goes up to Boston College on Friday night. I mean, Boston College might be – I know that they're saying that Tech is the worst team in the ACC. You look at the power rankings from the folks around the networks. They usually are having us at 14, but if it's not us in those rankings, it is Boston College. I mean, Boston College is just really, really bad this year. So Duke should get win number 7. Let's see. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, win number 6. Duke's looking at win number 6. They're looking at a bowl game here this weekend. So then we go to town in Durham on the 12th. But this is not about Duke. This is about Virginia Tech. We're going to jump into Hokie history. But before we do that, our good friends at CMG Leasing is leasing up for the 2023-2024 school year. Cedar Point Apartments. Brand new apartments at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. They have studio and 2-bedroom apartments fully furnished. So all you got to do is bring your TV. Hey, Black Friday's later this month. Maybe you can get a nice TV deal to bring your Cedar Point apartment. They have internet, they have water, and they have trash all included in your rent. Here at the Cedar Point Apartments, there is a resident lounge. There's outdoor grilling, covered bike storage, a fitness center and gym, a swimming pool with a sun deck, a ton of space for you to socialize, mingle, and meet other fantastic Hokies. Right now, go to Cedar Point Apartments and mention Sons of Saturday. Take a tour of Cedar Point and get a $15 Sharkies gift card. Tell them the Suns sent you. We'll also be doing another ticket giveaway with our friends at Cedar Point this month. This is the Battle of the Techs. Looking down at the list of games that we have enjoyed with Georgia Tech over the past decade and a half, kind of makes me sad. It really does, because there were some really good football games between these two teams back in the early days of when the ACC expanded in 2004, and even some early 2010 games as well. But we'll start it from the most recent games that are notable, that are fun to talk about, that might not be fun to talk about as well. Virginia Tech leads this series 11-7. This will be the 19th meeting on Saturday. We have been playing annually since 2004, aside from the COVID year of 2020, where Georgia Tech was actually removed from the schedule in the 10+1 scheduling ordeal that they did last minute for the COVID year. We went down there last year. This was what I would like to call the Trey Turner game. Trey Turner had over 180 yards receiving this game, played out of his mind, and got a nice win for the Hokies. 2019 was the 45-0 shutout in Atlanta. If you remember, Caleb Farley had a pick six that game, and we just absolutely dominated this Georgia Tech team from beginning to end. 2018 was actually the last time. Think about this, Grayson. Georgia Tech has not come to Lane Stadium since 2018.
That's crazy.
And it just doesn't seem that long, but it has been a while. That 2018 game was bad. The 2017 game was really bad. The 2016 game was also really bad. I watched highlights from the 2017 game in Atlanta. We lost 28-22. It crushed our hopes for the Coastal Division. It was really just a disaster. I remember we had the ball on like the 31-yard line with a minute left. It was 4th and 1, and we take a shot to the end zone from the 32-yard line. Greg Stroman had a pick six that game. Sean Savoy actually might be one of the more underrated receivers we've ever had, because if you compare him, if you put Sean Savoy on the roster today, Sean Savoy is a star receiver, which is crazy to say. Sean Savoy had a pretty epic touchdown that day, but it was just totally forgotten since it was a losing effort. Also, Grayson, Jalen Holston had a touchdown in this game, 2017.
That's how long he's been on this football team.
Which is also wild.
That's insane. And it's funny you mentioned that Sean Savoy touchdown. I don't remember that at all. I could not tell you from memory what play you're referring to.
And you'll look it up on YouTube and be like, wow, like, I don't know if any guy on our offense would be able to do that, with the exception of like Keyshawn King. 2016 was a disaster. That was clinch miss that we fumbled the bag on the opening kickoff, and they never looked back. Let's go back to 2012. Cody Jernell hits the field goal in overtime. First ever overtime game in Lane Stadium history. That was on Labor Day night. It's a night game. It's a ton of fun. Had a nice Logan Thomas to Dimitri Knowles. Had a nice Kyle Fuller interception to seal the game, I want to say. Maybe. Yeah, Kyle Fuller.
Yep.
Corey Fuller had a great game.
Yep.
Those were fun times. 2012,
Those
we
were.
thought, beat Georgia Tech in 2012, first game of the year. Think, all right, we'll probably finish top 15 again. And then all of a sudden, we're like 8-5 or 7-6. It's brutal.
Yeah.
2011. Awesome.
Incredible.
Just
great game.
Like, Thursday Night Football. Logan Thomas had 5 touchdowns. Danny Cole, Jarrett Boykin, David Wilson had like 175 yards on the ground. It was just Virginia Tech football, and it looked so good. 2010, speaking of David Wilson loves that 2010 game, and so do we. The David Wilson kick return in the fourth quarter. I think Reese Davis was on the call. Jesse Palmer was there. That was fun. 2009, tough. I have written down the Joshua Nesbitt game. We went down there as the number 4 ranked team in the country, and we had no answer for the triple option in Atlanta.
Yep.
And Paul Johnson. 2007, Jersey Gate. We tweeted about this today. Halloween night, or was it November 1st? November 1st, 2007, where Glennon, Tyrod, Brandon Flowers, Cam Chancellor, all of their jerseys went missing. So out comes the Georgia Tech equipment staff with 4 Georgia Tech practice uniforms, and you got Sean Glennon writing his name in Sharpie on the back and
a backwards Nike swoosh.
Yeah, which is classic, so classic. And then I got a few more on here. 2005. And then, okay, wait, 2006.
Yeah.
The Calvin Johnson game. Tough. They scored 38 points on our defense that was ranked number 1 that year. The most potent offense that we faced all year. Reggie Ball and Calvin Johnson. 2005. College game day. 51-7. We absolutely destroyed this team. Grayson, who scored this game? I feel like everyone got in on the action.
Everyone on that offense in 2005 got a taste. And this was an LPD day, too, for scoring defense. Jeff King, tight end. A lot of Hokies remember him. First touchdown. Then DJ Parker had a 78-yard blocked field goal for a touchdown. Mike Emo, running back, scored a touchdown. Cedric Humes scored a touchdown. And then this one, like I always kind of forget this game, and I shouldn't. But Xavier Adibi, coach Adibi, 25-yard interception, pick 6. That's not good enough. Then Chris Ellis has a 29-yard interception, pick 6. 2 defensive pick 6s from neither of which are defensive backs. And then Brandon Pace, 2 regular field goals, and boom, 51-7. And fun fact, who scored Georgia Tech's only touchdown? That would be Megatron Calvin Johnson. So there you go. What a game. What a team. What a team.
Man, I know you didn't even say Marcus Vick, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, didn't score.
2004, epic comeback in Atlanta. Brian Randall to Eddie Royal, 80 yards. Mike Tirico on the call. And then was it Harper? Was it Clowney? Who had the touchdown down the sideline? I think it was Harper.
I think you might be right. I want to say I might be thinking of another game, but I think did Josh Hyman score in that game, or am I OTL? Am I out to lunch?
It was actually Josh Morgan.
Josh Morgan. Got it.
Josh Morgan. And then Roland Minor had a pick 6 at the end.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yep. So a lot of fun games in the rear view. Georgia Tech this year, they are 3-5. They are 2-3 in conference. And coming into the season, everyone looked at Georgia Tech and they said, I don't know how they're going to win more than 3 games, because this schedule was murderer's row from the get-go. As of now, their strength of schedule is 15th in the country. They lost to Clemson on Labor Day. They got absolutely crushed by Ole Miss. They lost to Central Florida 27-10 on September 24th. And then Jeff Collins, their head coach, fourth-year head coach, was fired that next week. Since then, they promote the offensive line coach, Brent Key, and he takes over as interim head coach. Coach Key, 2-2, starts hot with a win over Pittsburgh and a win over Duke. Two teams in the Coastal that, could give anyone in the conference a run for their money. And then loses the following 2 weeks to UVA and then Florida State. So this has been an up and down year for Georgia Tech, without a doubt. They're coming to Blacksburg this weekend. After Blacksburg, they are going to host Miami. Then they go to Carolina. And then they finish up between the hedges in Athens on November 26th. So, high level, you're still thinking, can Georgia Tech win more than 3 games? They're 3-5 right now. They got 4 games left on the schedule that, they're probably not going to be favored in any of them. But we will see what happens. Georgia Tech is 3rd in the country in turnover margin. They have 18 takeaways. They've turned the ball over 6 times, which is something that you usually don't see out of a 3-5 team. And what else do we got here? They have scored 129 points this year. That's good for 16.1 points per game, which is 127th of 131. That is very close to where we are in scoring offense. We're not going to get into that super nitty-gritty here, but Grayson, can you tell us about a few of the leaders on the team and, what they've done this year so far? Probably some names that we'll hear on Saturday.
Yeah, a few numbers for you real quick. It's worth noting Georgia Tech has lost 5 out of their last 6 road games, which plays to our favor. Obviously, they're playing in Lane Stadium, 12:30 p.m. EST, 9:30 a.m. PST on Saturday. QB Jeff Sims is completing 58.5% of his passes for 1,115 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Nate McCullum and EJ Jenkins have combined for 612 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, while Malachi Carter has 14 receptions as well. Yellow Jackets' ground game is averaging 130.1 yards per contest, and Hassan Hall leads the way with 417 yards on 83 carries. It's pretty good. Defensively, Georgia Tech is allowing 28.1 points and 426 yards per game. That's pretty bad. Their defense is not great, so we'll see. I don't know. I hope I don't butcher this name. Ayinde Ele leads the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets with 82 tackles. Keon White has 4 sacks, and Charlie Thomas has 2 interceptions. So what do these numbers tell us at the end of the day? Well, it tells us that Virginia Tech has a chance, keyword is has a chance, to put up some bigger offensive numbers on Saturday. Will we actually be able to do that? I don't know. Keyshawn King, as of today, is listed as probable. Malachi Thomas is doubtful. The main question I think everyone's asking, we have some letters from the lunch pail about it, who's going to be running the football on Saturday consistently for Virginia Tech, and can that person be effective? If Jalen Holston is running back number 1 and he's that guy for the bulk majority of the game, I wouldn't expect, and I'm not, trying to ostracize him or whatever, but I mean, statistically, his numbers have not been great this season. So my hope, I think, along with a lot of other Hokies, is Bryce Duke gets the bulk majority of carries now that we've burned his red shirt. Chance Black, I imagine, will get into the rotation as well, given his performance last week on the kickoff returns, though. Dude, put super glue on your hands. Can't have the fumbles, cannot have the turnovers, especially given the fact that Georgia Tech is good at forcing them this season, even though they are 3-5. So, Pat, let's talk about some more numbers.
Yeah, and even before we get into that, I think what we're going to see here on Saturday, or what I would like to see, it seems that Virginia Tech is so dedicated to establishing the run. Can we establish the run without Malachi Thomas? That is a huge question mark.
Yeah.
He is the guy that when he's on the field, this is a better football team, whether he is catching passes out of the backfield or running the ball or in pass protection. Is Keyshawn King going to be available? Really, who is going to get the bulk of the carries on Saturday? I would imagine Holston is going to start. That's what my gut would tell me, just based on there's no hesitancy about, is he probable? Is he doubtful? Is he playing? But I hope to see Bryce Duke and Chance Black as well. But I really want to see us throw the ball, throw the football.
Yeah.
Caleb Smith just had a career day. He had 141 yards through the air on Thursday night in Raleigh. He looked great. Caleb Smith is a guy who is averaging over 18 yards per reception. And every single time the ball is thrown to him, he makes a play. He's making plays. And our offense does not have that many playmakers. Now, so get the ball to Daquan Wright before the fourth quarter, or third quarter, because guess what? He exists. He's one of the biggest guys on our offense. He has, the guy is going to the NFL. Like, we're buying the Daquan Wright stock right now. He's going to the NFL one day. Throw him the ball. Do not just give it to him 3 times on one drive and then say, all right, that's the Daquan Wright drive. Or not giving it to him the rest of the game. Because we've seen that too many times. Give the ball to Daquan. Give the ball to Caleb Smith. Air it out. And then as far as special teams go, I don't think special teams can get any worse than what we saw on Thursday night.
And no penalties, dude. No penalties.
Yeah, we haven't even.
No false starts, dog. Like, enough. It's November now. None of that. If there are more than 3 false starts, I'm frisbeeing my remote out the window. Like, I can't deal with that. It cannot happen.
No false starts at home. No. Carter Finley was not an intimidating venue. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, no false starts. I gotta say, guys, like, excited to see more of Delane. Like, this could be the week that we force some turnovers. I know Georgia Tech hasn't been turning the ball over, but we need to force turnovers if we want to win a football game. And a Georgia Tech team is the team that we have to do it against. Also, we talked about it in Hokie history. I don't think we've had more defensive touchdowns against any other team in the ACC since 2004 than our pick-6 ratio against Georgia Tech. So if we record a pick-6 this weekend, it's going to be Mansour Delane. But yeah, riding momentum like Delane. Excited to see him out there again this weekend. Also excited to see Alan Tisdale out there again, who had a really great night last time out. So, all right, let's roll in, talk some more numbers. I don't know how many NBA fans listen to this podcast, but guess what, NBA fans? The wait is over. Basketball is back, so tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook, opt in, and place a stepped up same game parlay today in the app. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. Now, I don't know a ton about NBA hoops, but I do know that the New Jersey Nets or the Brooklyn Nets, see, there you go. I just proved my point. They're a train wreck. They're a train wreck. They just fired their coach. So it may behoove you to fade that clown show in Brooklyn as they look to bring in a new coach and get back on track. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use promo code SOS. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code SOS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Grayson, what is the line on this game right now?
Yes, sir. So Vegas currently has Virginia Tech listed as a 4-point favorite for Saturday's matchup. We'll see how that fluctuates as the week progresses.
Grant Watson always hooks us with his over-unders. Hokie sacks, 2.5.
I'm taking the under. Under 2.5. Our defensive line this season has been too inconsistent. I don't know. I don't see it.
I will take the over here. I don't say that confidently, though. Bryce Duke carries 4.5.
Oh, over. 100% over.
100%. Okay.
I think he's going to be rotated heavily.
Okay. I'll take the over as well. Hopefully we are
correct.
Hopefully he gets some carries in the fourth quarter. Hokies total yards 320.
Dude, you know what? I'm going to take the over. And why? Because this defense, they've been giving up an average of 426 yards per game. I don't know, dude. Like Caleb Smith's performance last week, I think we're just gonna send it on Saturday and just kind of throw everything we got at him. We're gonna be at home. Usually I would not take the over here, but I'm taking the over on this one actually.
I'm gonna take the under. And I'm gonna think that this is my bold prediction is that this is one of the first games where we see Virginia Tech win the field position battle due to our defense putting us in good position. Not necessarily the other way around, special teams. No, this is going to be credited to the defense. But that is a take that I'm not confident in either. But that is my bold take of the week. Grayson, take us into letters from the Pale.
Yes, sir. So looks like we only have – no, we got a couple. Cool. Ted Hessing asks, and I quote, with injuries to the running back room, can we expect to see more Bryce Duke and justify his now burned red shirt? How do the mounting injuries at cornerback affect other positions, i.e., does former cornerback Elijah Bowick return to that position? What's over under on number of new faces in this game? Well, we just talked about it. In terms of referring to Bryce Duke, I definitely think we're going to see him heavy rotated. I don't think Keyshawn is really going to play a lot at all. If he's probable, I just don't see it. Wasn't he probable for NC State? Because if he was, I just don't think we're going to see him. But to that point, I'd be very upset if Bryce Duke does not get over 4.5 carries on Saturday. And I think it's definitely necessary given how thin we are at the running back position. Can't just have Holston out there. You got to cycle through the guys, get the young guys reps, get Chance Black a chance to, no pun intended, get better at protecting the rock. Ted, in terms of your cornerback related question, I was looking at the depth chart that David Cunningham posted earlier today. Currently, right now, the starting cornerbacks are listed as Armani Chapman and Mansour Delane, with DJ Harvey as Delane's backup and Breon Murray is backing up Armani Chapman. And then you have Chamari Connor and Nasir Peoples who are listed as the starting safeties. I don't think you're going to see anything crazy there. I don't think you're going to see really a whole lot of new guys. Jalen Stroman, I believe, is backing up Chamari Connor. So if anything, Don V had actually said this on his space post-NC State game last week. If we're going to do the whole, just throw the new guys at them, don't do it until we have definitively and hopefully, hypothetically, lost a 7th game. Don't do it until it's like, okay, we're 2-7. But until then, dude, it's like I want to see the guys out there who are going to, obviously the most experienced, going to put us in the best chance to win the football game. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, Cam Johnson's another guy we might see out there at corner. I know that him and Devin Alves were both had intentions of being played against NC State at some point to spell out Mansour Delane, and they both picked up injuries prior to the game. So I don't know if either of them will see them on Saturday, but that's.
I think Cam is still injured on the report today.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, but
Meg Gregg.
Yeah, Meg Gregg.
Meg Gregg says, what is Dorian Strong's actual injury? Hand related? Presumably you can play with most hand injuries. Just seems like there is more to it. That's a good question. I
don't know.
I do not know. I'm sure the medical staff would have a better answer there, but hand injuries can be crazy. They can sideline someone for months.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like, is it a hand? Is it a finger?
The wrist.
Is it the wrist? Like, we really don't have that much information on it. So, fortunately, can't weigh in there. And then Sharky shoutouts. we've come to the end. I have a few shout outs. One, totally glossed over this. The BCA Classic. Lightning hit my car. I don't know what a Hokie is, but God is one of them. Guys, if you really want to take a look back in the history books of Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, go to the Hokie Sports article where they do the series snapshot. They have some really cool pictures, and one of them highlights the BCA Classic, which was a canceled game between Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech in 2000. It was the first game of the year. You had Herbie, you had Corso, you had Fowler, all there.
You had baby Grayson there.
Grayson was there too. 4-year-old Gray, 5-year-old Gray was there. The teams were lined up, ready to kick off, and then literally seconds away from starting the season, a bolt of lightning strikes right outside of Lane Stadium, and they canceled the football game, and Lee Corso's rental car was hit by lightning, and the game was never rescheduled. So, Hokie history, the game that never happened. And this was when Tech and Georgia Tech weren't in the same conference. So, this was a big-time game to start the 2000 season that actually never occurred. Two other things. Sharkies. Go to Sharkies. Pick up a Sons of Saturday Sharkies t-shirt. They are down there. The Tailgate 2022 t-shirt is available for purchase at Sharkies. And then, again, go to Main Street Pharmacy. Pick up a Center Street Athletics t-shirt. Shout out to our friends at Nitlo. KNITLO. Center Street Athletics. Get them online or at Main Street Pharmacy. And my last shout out, man, Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker's Tennessee Vols are number 1 in the college football playoff rankings here. The first rankings of the year, November 1st, the Tennessee Vols are number 1. Big time matchup this weekend between the hedges. I cannot wait to watch that after a fun game and a fun day in Lane Stadium.
Can you imagine if Hendon freaking beats the Bulldogs? Good Lord. Hope it happens. Another chance for him to go out there and raise his Heisman stock as if it isn't hot enough already or high enough already. But, I mean, I just think it speaks volumes. It's really cool to see on the timeline. Like, the Hokies love that kid and obviously want to see him succeed and win the Heisman, dude. Go get it done. Go eat it up, man. It's so cool to see what he's doing. My only shout out this week is if you're in Los Angeles, if you're a Los Angeles Hokie, we're doing a watch party at Boston Burke's place. He's going to be cooking breakfast for the LA Hokies, which is very, very kind of him. All he asks is that you throw just like $10 cash his way. Going to have a great spread early morning, 9:30 a.m. Address is going to be posted on the Los Angeles Hokies Facebook page. So, yeah, if you're here, we'll see you there on Saturday.
I'm looking at this thing. Okay, so I'm really intrigued by this this series snapshot. I'm looking at the caption. So they got some really good images on there.
Where is this? Wait,
it's on Hokie Sports. They do this every game.
No way.
Josh Redding, Dave Cadella are both linemen running out with Frank. And that was also the first ever time that Enter Sandman played in Lane Stadium was the BCA Classic in 2000. So the more you know. The more you know. Maybe we'll post this pic this week. That's a sweet picture. All right, guys, that's a podcast. We're going to stop blabbering on. If you're in Blacksburg, come to Section 5 after the win. We're going to take a Section 5 win photo. I'm keeping the faith. Let's win a game on Saturday. We'll see y'all there. Go Hokies.
Go Hokies. All right, everybody. Back with another one for y'all today. Today we are joined by Brandon Guess, hailing from San Diego. Brandon, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, brother. Happy to be here.
We appreciate you doing this. So for those of y'all who don't know Brandon actually, I don't know how you did it, man, but you used to be roommates with one Billy Ray Mitchell in San Diego, California. So I'm going to explain to the fine people who you are, what we're having you on for. We're actually partnering up with an organization in light of it being Veterans Day tomorrow. November 11th, we are partnering with Stop Soldier Suicide, which is an organization It's veteran-founded, veteran-led. It's a 501c3 organization focused solely on reducing the military suicide rate through world-class suicide intervention services. Their services are free, they're confidential, not DoD affiliated, and tailored to the unique needs of each individual client. And since 2010, they've actually served over 3,500 clients. And today, 0 active clients have died by suicide, which is awesome. That's very, very special. So today, like I said, we're joined by Brandon here. Brandon served in the United States Armed Forces. And Brandon, I'm just so the people know, and I'm actually not entirely sure the branch you served in. What branch of the United States military did you serve in?
I was in the Navy for a month shy of 13 years.
13 years. When did you enlist?
December 2007.
Wow, man. So was it like right after high school? That was it.
I went to Auburn, and then I was there for a little bit, and then I went ahead and left there and enlisted in the Navy.
So you were in the Navy for 13 years. What'd you do in the Navy?
I was a corpsman, so I was like on the medical side of the house, which because of that job, I pretty much know nothing about the Navy. I was with the Marines the entire time.
Gotcha. So your kind of your day to day, I guess, was just it varied. It was always
it'd be some days in the clinic seeing patients, and the next I'd be at the rifle range or learning something with my Marines.
Yeah. And how many times did you go overseas? How many times were you deployed?
Did 6 deployments.
6 deployments. Gotcha. So you were out there a lot. Yeah, man. 6 deployments over 13 years. That's I imagine that's a lot.
It's there's a couple small things here and there, but Iraq, Afghanistan. I actually did a training deployment to Ukraine, and then I did a couple deployments on Muse with the Marines.
Gotcha. So in light of Stop Soldier Suicide, the mental health, I think, of veterans is often not taken nearly as seriously as it should be. By the numbers, how many veterans take their own life daily?
So the numbers kind of change obviously every year. And the VA does it's the best it can to track those numbers. And actually, so I have a couple here. So from let's see here, in 2021, a huge study came out that since 9/11, just over 30,000 active duty and veterans committed suicide, and compared to that number, only like 7,057 have died in combat. So that means that the active duty and veteran suicide rate is literally 4 times higher than people who have actually passed away in combat,
which is crazy. I mean, that's...
And then I got one more. So it the numbers have actually been going up. From in 2017, the national average was 22 to in 2020, the average was 28. Wow. Of if you break it down by the day, so on average, 28 veterans or active duty committed suicide in the U.S.
Wow. Dang, man. That's again, you just kind of don't think about these things, which, this is literally what Stop Soldier Suicide aims to prevent. They've like we said, 3,500 clients to this day, 0 active clients have died by suicide. So
that's a pretty good margin right there.
That is a pretty solid margin. And also, Brandon, from what I understand, you've been pretty active in helping other veterans who suffer from PTSD and the like. How have those experiences kind of helped you in your civilian life?
I wouldn't say that helping those or handling those situations have helped me. It's just more at the end of the day, you just got to help the next guy. Dudes helping dudes. Sometimes you have to have that uncomfortable conversation with somebody. It doesn't necessarily need to be a veteran, but obviously those guys will have similar experiences and stuff. So just, I don't know, being grown man stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's a time and place for everything and be able to have an uncomfortable conversation to be able to help someone. Right. So military puts you in a lot of uncomfortable situations. So now talking to guys that have gotten out or still in, that are having issues, like you need to be able just to say what you need to say.
Right. No, I hear you. So I guess and this is because I don't know. I'm not sure if you've worked with any organizations similar to Stop Soldier Suicide, but how do they, I guess from your perspective, effectively help veterans?
I think the biggest thing is a lot of veterans, from what I've looked up and stuff, is that a lot of veterans, when unfortunately that have committed suicide, a lot do it within the first couple of years of getting out. It's a big loss of purpose. It can be equated to anything like Billy Ray, who was a football player who had growing up, such a huge portion of his life was football, and now that when he finished, it's like, okay, now what? Well, in the military, it's like you literally live, breathe, and eat what your job is and everything. So when you get out and become a veteran, it's all gone. And it's like, boom, like next day gone. So if you're not finding a purpose, which these organizations will help you do, you'll be in trouble. So finding a purpose, linking you up with people who have had similar experiences, just to be able to talk and hang out with. There's a really good organization also around here. It's called PB Abate. And they're just able to bring a lot of veterans together and just to be able to have talks, do experiences, do activities to give people a mental break of things.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the Billy Ray analogy is kind of crazy. And I imagine in some capacity or another when he had his career-ending injury, I mean, it's kind of apples to oranges, but the loss of purpose is probably a big proponent of why, the why, if you will. So I guess maybe regular civilians don't think about that as much because they're just not accustomed to think. They don't have to think about it. So last question for you here, Brandon. Tomorrow is an important day for a lot of different reasons. I have plenty of family members who have served in the armed forces, plenty of friends. What does Veterans Day mean to you? Why is it important? And kind of what do you think about when you think about Veterans Day?
Honestly, for me, I'm still like a newly veteran. I got out the end of 2020, so this is actually my second Veterans Day as a civilian. It's just honestly, it's an excuse. It's an excuse to like mentally relive some memories, hit up some friends that you served with, all right, or talk to that family member who, like you said, you had family who served and stuff. Just reminding them that they're loved and you remember them and you appreciate what they've done and everything. Because, I think I looked it up since 9/11. Literally less than 1% of our nation has served in the armed forces. So out of the millions and millions of people we have in this country, literally it's like 0.727% have actually served. Wow. So we make a big deal about it, which I mean, it should, like, to remember our veterans, to keep them in mind. But that percentage of people that are actually it's very, very small.
Right. Well, what we're going to actually do is we're teaming up with Stop Soldier Suicide, and in the article link to this episode, we're actually going to be doing a fundraiser. Sons of Ut Prosum, that I may serve. You can donate at this link to Stop Soldier Suicide, which, I mean, what an incredible cause, what an incredible organization. That hits close to home to so many different people. I think that's and while, I mean, there's that number that you just shared, Brandon, less than 1% have served. I think it hits so close to home. Like, everybody knows someone who has served in the United States military, armed forces, what have you. So it affects a lot of different people, but, we appreciate you coming on, man, and kind of telling your story a little bit. And yeah, how can we follow you, Brandon? How can we keep up with you?
Hey, at the end of the day, I'm just another guy, brother.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I love that. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And
Of course.
again, y'all, Stop Soldier Suicide. You can follow them, and that link will be in the article. So, heck yeah, we appreciate you, brother.